Hi, it's me, Dora V here, and today I have two readings for Nidhogg. As you know, you had to have known I was gonna do this. His second birthday's December 22nd, but whatever, I felt like doing this right now, so that's what I'm doing. And so this is the quick one. Stop it. No, it's fine. And this one's basically past, present, and future, and what is going on with him and what will go on with him. And I'll start with the first one, which is the dreadful Five of Wands. Man, that one is not a card you ever want to see. Yeah, too many cooks spoil the broth, and what that means is that there's a lot of nonsense going on. And with the Five of Wands, it gets a very warlike. It's a warlike card, and I suspect that in his past he was like, yeah, competition, struggle to search riches, fortune, whatever, the battle of life. So basically, he grew up kind of with a life is war mentality. And I think, like, when he was really young, it started out like pretty decent, but but as you know, like, his life was upheaved when his father was falsely accused of treason, and so he ended up having to fight for every single thing he has, and I suspect that it's pretty much like to this day that that's what he's doing. But yeah, life is war, like, so, yeah, and it says here, like, it's a card of gold, gain opulence. Yeah, like, I guess it depends on what you have with it. But since it's wands, I imagine it makes sense, but it's a struggle. It's clear that he's always been ambitious. That's something Royce had caught early on. But it doesn't change the fact that he clearly had to struggle a great deal as a child, as a teenager, and of course as an adult. Like, he's basically spent his entire life fighting a lot. So it's a very chaotic youth, unfortunately. As for the present, oh, Dark Souls. Yeah, okay. As for the present, it is the Knight of Swords, only it's reversed, which is really bad. The Knight of Swords is like a very aggressive intellect. The Knight of Swords reversed is still an aggressive intellect, but they're even worse, basically. So what he's basically dealing with here, let's see, it's reverses imprudence, incapacity, extravagance. I don't know about extravagance. I'm not buying that. But I can definitely buy imprudence. Like, he's definitely, like, wait a minute. But he's, like, definitely intellectually aggressive. But, unfortunately, he may be behaving a bit foolishly. And as for incapacity, I feel like he's maybe biting off more than he can chew in terms of maybe dealing with certain people, like, say, Grey Raven. I don't know about extravagance. I mean, that sounds more like Reed, but he could, yeah, Nidhogg is dealing with Reed as well. But I think the issue, like, in game right now, is that he is kind of maybe pissed off too many people at the same time, and so is not doing very well. As you can see, like, even with, like, the upright, there's still war, destruction, opposition, and then the reverse is pretty much the same thing, only worse. So I think, like, there are too many things going on at once. I do feel like in the present, things are starting to slip away. And that he basically is just more fighting for him, pretty much. However, in the future, we have the world, which is quite possibly one of the best cards you can ever have. So, he's basically going through hell and back as an antagonist, as Nidhogg, as whatever. But the world could also mean that you need to expand your horizons, that travel, a lot of travel, he's going to have to do a lot of that, and that I suspect that's what he's going to be doing. I mean, Nikki's doing it. I mean, she has to, and he's not her, but still, I mean, I do feel like everything will be okay with him, that no matter the struggles and the fights that he's going through, he will actually be fine. I'm hoping so. But that's what the world is. Like, you have success. It's just that the first two cards are horrid. But I do feel like, despite that, he'll turn out okay. And that, yes, of course, he's going to have consequences. But he may very well be redeemed. And, well, he'll be okay. Like, he'll be okay. Like, it'll be full. Yeah, the goal achieved, whatever that is. Well, he's gonna have kids. I don't think so, but a pinnacle in life. But I do suspect he's definitely involved in world affairs. That's true, or at least continental affairs. And he definitely will be traveling. But this is it's a happy card to find in any spread. So, like I said, I feel like the past, the present, definitely a mess, but in the end, he'll be just fine. That he might not necessarily emerge victorious, but I think that he will still get what he wants, and that despite his defeat, he'll be okay. And even if he loses, he wins. Neener, neener, neener. So yeah, that's his that's the basic forecast, at least from what I can see. Now there's another spread I did, and that one was spirituality. So this is basically what I asked was, what can the cards tell me about him? And I used the Tree of Life because I thought that was fitting as hell. And he goes, why not? I do see reversals that I don't like. Yeah, reversals aren't, they're not always bad. But I figured the Tree of Life is pretty fitting because the Universal Tide was a hell event. And so what can the cards tell me about him? In terms of intelligence, he is the Ten of Wands, which to me is a very ambivalent card. It means that on one hand, like, yes, you have done everything you need to do, but on the other, you have other things to do. It's like a building. It's like if it's not one thing, it's another, but you'll still succeed. It's just that it's more work, more. And this is in terms of intelligence. Like, obviously, he's pretty cerebral. Yeah, fortune, gain, success. But at the same time, he's definitely burdened by this intellectually. Well, that is the thing about command. So, so when he does succeed in, say, outsmarting someone, he has another task at hand that he must deal with. And I feel like that's pretty obvious in game. So, definitely a smart guy. There's no getting around that one. That's why he's the King of Swords. As for spiritual, it's the devil! But it's a reversal. And the reverse devil, like, if you go by Mystic Mondays, it basically means that you're not really in bondage, you're not controlled by any vices, you're actually doing okay, but it can also mean that you just don't realize you're in bondage, that, yeah, like, a vice, yeah. But basically means that a reversal would mean that you're not really in bondage, or you did break out of bondage, but it could also mean everything is a huge mess and you're still in bondage. So there is a possibility that he might be in bondage and not realize it, and you can't exactly get out of something you don't realize you're in. But I do feel like him being in bondage to vice, not likely. Yeah, not likely. So I feel like he is totally not in any kind of bondage. But the warning is there, to really watch it with your soul, because I do think something like Dark Verdict is helpful, but if you're not careful, you may rely a little too much on that sword, and I don't think that's a good thing, but I think he can handle it. I think he's very much in control. That kind of goes without saying, don't you think? Wisdom, the Ten of Cups, easily one of the best cards you can have. This one is celebratory, and it's basically here, It's contentment, repose. I feel like he definitely has wisdom. He does have quotable things. Someone definitely wise beyond his years, and I suspect he's always been that way. But it seems like for now, like he's definitely content for now. Yeah, and it's perfection of love and friendship. Yeah, right. But this is for wisdom, though. So I think in terms of wisdom, yeah, he's fine. Despite the fact that he may be making some boo boos, like he's still fairly wise. There's no getting around that one. Conflicts. This is the Hermit, but it's a reversal. The Hermit reversed, basically, it's you don't know where the hell you're going. You're just stumbling blind. You are flying blind. You are driving blind. You are doing all kinds of things blind, and you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're not really reflecting on anything. This is conflict, so I think that the issue here is he may be blind to certain problems or certain issues that may arise, and that there might be things that he does not see coming. Ooh, that is pretty typical of people like him, but there might be some people he does see coming, but doesn't want to see it, doesn't want to deal with it, and that's definitely a source of, that could be a problem. So some known unknowns, and there might be other factors that he's not yet aware of that may be heading his way. That's conflicts. Growth. This is a Queen of Swords, but it's reversed. Growth, so as he grew up, I think, like he's definitely gotten... Oh yeah, you see a reversal, like Queen of Swords is a major bitch reversed, like deceitful, malice, I don't know about bigotry or pruder. I don't know if he's particularly prudish. I don't know. But it seems like as there's the malice, I mean, his name literally means malice striker. So the growth, I guess he grows up, like he has had to be deceitful as the prime minister. There's definitely some malice involved, but I feel like it's more like a hate for the system at large rather than for individual people. I don't know about bigotry. I haven't really seen the evidence of that. But just definitely would like to see Mirrorland change, like for sure. But he did have to use deceit to get to the point that he is, and would probably have to continue doing so. But I can't see him being like someone who's like, ooh, I love to hurt people. Nah, I think he's more like a punch clock anti-villain type, just does things because he feels like he has to. But still, if he's not careful, he could be like maybe unfairly critical, unfairly bitter. As for cynical, I think he's more like a realist. Well, I mean, depends on what you mean by cynical. Like, I don't think he's that much of a negativist. No way he's idealist, I know that. So maybe realist could work. Being cynical is something completely different. I mean, just because I also think that it's not really absolute either. Like, you can be cynical about some things, idealistic about others. I think Nidhogg is more of a realist, because a cynic is also someone who challenges the system. He could fit there. But this is a reversal, so I feel like he might be just not really being fair, and there's certain things that he's not considering, and if he's not careful, he can grow into something even worse than what he already is. I don't really see that happening, though, to be honest. I don't think so. He's definitely cold, for sure, but that's the King of Swords, too. Like, they're pretty much the same, really. But yeah, like the growth here, like it's definitely not a good growth. I don't think so, at least. But I think it's possible that this is how people see him. And I guess in the end, you see people how you want to see them. As for compassion, this one surprised me. It's the Knight of Pentacles. So he's certainly capable of it, it seems. But the Knight of Pentacles is just traditional. It's, responsibility. Yeah, it's not much of a shock here, external. So it seems like compassion, that's never really changed. I think that it's definitely there, but no way is it all that obvious. I mean, I certainly don't think so. Sorry about that. Yeah, interesting. I can see him being very responsible for sure and committed and a bit on the conservative side in some ways. So I think when it comes to compassion, it's something that's very, like, he keeps that on the down low for defensive reasons because I could see him considering it a sign of weakness if you're not careful. So a Knight of Pentacles makes sense for compassion. As for career, oh boy, it's the King of Cups, but it's reversed. And the King of Cups reversed is toxic. So I feel like he is overwhelmed because this is a pretty big burden he's chosen to take on. He's in that it's getting to the point to where it's toxic. See, dishonest, but he's had to be as a prime minister, double dealing, again, the same thing. Like all of these things here, he has to be. He had to be as the prime minister, so that was his career. As colonel, like, that's what he really is. So roguery could fit, but, I mean, that's not exactly, like, what a colonel does, I don't think. But as for, I don't know about vice, because I know considerable loss, absolutely. He has pillaged. As for injustice, that's a question of who you ask. But definitely, like, his career, if it hasn't been based on deceit, it was based on considerable loss, and he's been through that in the past, and he is causing it now. And he has, in fact. As you know what happened with Lunar, yeah. Considerable loss for sure. Scandal, like, good grief, yeah, that too. But he's obviously had help doing it. So, yeah. Intuition, it's the sun. Yeah, but it's reversed. The sun reversed is not really good. That tells me that despite his intelligence and his wisdom, he is blinded by his arrogance, which is not good. And so, like, he's not really seeing. That's definitely not innocent. I don't think he's ever really been all that innocent at all. Truth, yeah. He is not very happy. As for success, he does have that right now. But again, like, this is a reversal. So it's like you're going to have to worry because you ain't going to be happy. Like, but he's basically kind of blind here in his intuition. In fact, in my headcanon, like, people have been pointing out issues with Louis, and he refuses to acknowledge that. And that's kind of part of why he might not be that successful. But he's more blind than he thinks he is. So that's pretty much what this means. Yeah, success. The Nine of Cups. Well, despite all the problems that he may have, he will end up having some success after all. He certainly did when he became prime minister, when he went and became a famous designer, went to Sicily and made it there. So for sure, he's definitely made it as that. So he was certainly content, I guess, for a bit. Success, advantage. But let me see again. Like, yeah, I mean, I feel like he's going to have that at least for a while. So, yeah, like, no matter what happens, no matter the chaos, no matter what he goes through, like, there's certainly success there, if that hasn't happened already. But yeah, it's definitely celebratory. So like I said, like, he'll probably be okay, no matter what you think of him. As for home, this, I guess, would be his past. It's a Page of Swords. No, but it's reversed. And the Page of Swords reversed is a motor mouth. And unfortunately, the reversal, it's basically authority, overseeing. He does all of these things. But because it is reversed, it's the more yucky side of these things. And he has had to do these things for the revolution that he so desperately wants. But it also says what is foreseen and unprepared. And that's definitely happened to him in the past. As you can see, is unforeseen, unprepared, because no way in hell he was prepared to see his father, basically stripped of everything, and he couldn't have been prepared having to run away. As for sickness, no. Also intimated, no, I don't think so. I don't know if that was a problem. But yeah, bad past experiences made him put on his guard and made his wary and defensive. Certainly makes sense. Yeah, so the mind of his characters in the past, but their body is preparing for something from the future. Well, that certainly fits him quite well. But again, it's a reversal. So I think that even though he's trying to bury like everything, like it still affects him whether he admits it or not. And in his home life, like I do believe that it started out pretty good, but it was completely ruined by the false accusation, and he's had hardship ever since. And when he was adopted by Louis's father, things got better there, but that was taken away from him too, and then splitting with Louis also just but it affects him more than he'll ever care to admit. So his home, like I'd say right now, it's very much topsy-turvy despite all appearances, and that he's definitely someone who is not exactly not exactly the most secure in his home, and definitely is doing like the spying, like everything the Night Order does do, he's part of it. So home life is definitely on his guard for sure. I mean, he has to be. I can't imagine being any other way. And that's pretty much it for the spirituality, the chakra. Good, yeah, those are different things. It's just, ooh, it's like a lot of bad, but a lot of good too. That's the truth with a lot of reads, I imagine. But with this one, just yikes. So I do think like he'll overcome his issues, but it's gonna take a lot of defeat, a lot of fighting, and I do think, like I said, he'll get what he wants, but it's not gonna be his way, and that he would have to suffer defeat before getting what he wants, oddly enough. And so, like, especially if the real enemy really is the Lord, I suspect that something will happen to him and he has to team up with Nikki, and together they fight crime or something. As I really think that's the only way he's gonna come out like unscathed. Like I can't do something like that. But yeah, that's he just has to get his act together, like something like that. And that's it. Like, that's pretty much all I can think of for the time being. I mean, if I have anything else to think about, I'm sure I'll come up with another spread. Like, there's quite a few topics here. See, general life conditions, for example. So I could have done something like that. Like, yeah, I could, like, do a different reading. Forecasting, love, career, health. Let's see, will I lose weight? Ooh, no, you don't need to know that. Spiritual with the chakras. See, I've used this before. And then past life. Like if you have a past life. Open topic is basically whatever you want to use. I have seldom done this. Like I've actually done a tower one, 14 cards. It looks like a tower. And then these are like my spreads. I don't do this. So, that's pretty much it. That'll do. See you later. Goodbye.